What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining. Got some people in the comments already. Appreciate you guys. If you don't know what you're here for, this is going to be a live walkthrough of an actual home inspector site that uses Spectora. We did build their site. I'm going to go through and just think out loud, give you some tips, say what I would do. And obviously, all this is going to be tailored to your individual market. So a lot of this is going to be stuff you guys can do. I mean, I also want to note that this is also how you should approach SEO and how you should think about it. So, purposes of today, we're going to broaden your understanding of what impacts SEO and digital traffic. Two, we're going to give you some simple tweaks that you can start with and things you can do. And maybe long term, think about outsourcing. And three, show you guys long term habits that lead to results in terms of the website. So some of this is going to be high level. I want some of you to know if you're a beginner and know nothing about SEO, that's okay. So I'm gonna do some high level kind of tips, training, mindset, what you should be thinking about. And then I'm going to get technical on a few aspects of how to actually do this if you're in your website and logging in as a user. So we're going to have varying levels of everything here. Ask your questions in the chat. I have two members of the Spectora team on here as well, helping out in the chat. So if you see them dropping comments in there, they could answer some of your questions maybe, but ask questions in the chat. And then if you find anything that's a golden nugget, like one takeaway is the goal for any webinar that you should join, put it in the chat. Because if there's something that's new to you or a good tactic that you're going to try, something you didn't know, something you want to challenge, call me out on, put it in the chat, and we'll stop at 20 and 40 minutes to discuss and answer some questions. So again, thanks everybody. Appreciate you guys chatting in. So we're going to start from scratch on the website. So I want to thank, I'm going to share my screen here and we'll get started. I want to thank House Call Home Inspection of Nashville. Chris and Brianna from the team there said I could go through and make recommendations on their website. So thank you for being the guinea pig and letting us, make recommendations here. So I'm gonna start with a few tips, and we'll just go from there. Cool. So whether you have a website built by Spectora or not, the things I'm going to show you, you should be able to do. So if you're on a Squarespace, a GoDaddy, wherever, you should be able to modify these basic things. But first, I want to clarify the opportunity and why we even care about our website when most of us get business from agents, right? Most of you here get a majority of your business from real estate agents. Google tells us how many people search for home inspectors each month. I'm in a tool called SEMrush here that we use and pay for at Spectora. You can put in any search term here and see how many people a month on average search for it. So this is really just to tell you why you should care about your website, maybe driving some traffic, because a city like Nashville, where House Call is based here, or this is their main metro area, I typed in home inspector Nashville, and you can do this for any city, any search term in the world. Google and SEMrush gets their data from Google. So that's a subtlety there. 50 people a month search just for the term home inspector Nashville. So they're clearly looking for a home inspector in Nashville. If we look at variations of that, that's 590 people a month that are searching for home inspector Nashville, Tennessee, best home inspectors, home inspection, Nashville home inspector. So that's 590 potential jobs at stake there per month. And when you look at search results, that's what 590 people a month are seeing. And so you want to be here. You want to be in the game. I'm not going to talk a ton about Google reviews today. They're important. Hands down, you should be doing everything you can with your automated emails, texts to get Google reviews, because that is a large factor of local SEO. So showing up right here, largely Google reviews. So I'm not going to beat that to death. You should just know if you need to be on a path to 100 plus reviews. And then once you get there, start thinking about 500 and 1,000, because it's just going to unequivocally help your rankings. So not going to spend a ton of time there. But it's clear to say that in towns smaller than Nashville, I see in really small towns, sometimes it might be 10 or 20 people or 50 people a month searching, but the trend remains that people are searching for their own home inspector just as much or more than they have in the last 5 or 10 years, because I've been tracking this over time. So everyone should know how to search their own city for home inspector or home inspection, whether that's Chapel Hill, Richmond, Portland, Jacksonville, Idaho, just looking at where some of you all are from. You should type that into an incognito search window. So if you look at the top right here, it shows incognito. I think you just do Shift Control N to open up an incognito window to give you pure search results. Because remember, when you're signed into Gmail or Google, they know your search history, and it's not going to be what an average user would see if they were searching. So hopefully you guys understand that you don't pay to be here. This is all Google local here. And then down below are the organic results where you want to be long-term. One of the biggest factors to get there is content. So let's talk content for a second. There's different types of content, right? Social, long form, this podcast, webinars, content. We're going to focus a lot on short form and long form content. So these top left and top here of SEO content, because Google tells us this is one of the most important factors to rank highly. And content are the pages on your website. So let's dive in. And before that, I want to also recommend that everybody search your own brand name in Google. House Call Nashville. So you want to know your own search results. This is like the basics of SEO. So before you even get into wondering if you can rank in Lorain, Ohio, or Columbus, Ohio, or Winston-Salem, you need to just type in your brand name and make sure you're dominating your own brand name. So this is what's called branded SEO. If you look at House Call, this is pretty good. They have, the first result here, they're Google My Business. So if everybody does not have a Google My Business, this will help your SEO to fill out your Google My Business profile completely. 100%. Every single thing you can answer in your Google My Business, please go in and answer it, because guess what? That's a Google product. They will reward you for using their products. I'll put it that way. So fill that out completely. They've got 472 reviews. That's great. This is a feature within Google My Business, y'all, that's fairly new, I think, to our industry. Request a quote. So if I click on that, it just allows someone to interact with my brand. So if you haven't enabled this, I would give it a try and test it out, because it can send you an email and text, I believe, with someone that's interested in working with you. They've got all this information filled out, appointments, links to their website. I think I like this because it leads to their online booking page. Boom. That's beautiful. So, another piece here. If you have a Facebook page that's vibrant, great. That should show up next on your own branded search results. 139 votes, rating of 5. You want the top 5, 7, 10 results when someone searches your brand to be your property, something you control. Instagram, cool. They got an Instagram. That's good. Yelp looks like they got a bad rating there. That's okay. I would want them to go in and respond to that. So you want to go in and have a good response, because chances are everyone's going to have an unreasonable person that leaves a bad review. You just want to make sure to respond. So pretty good presence there. Like, those are all House Call properties and links. I'm pretty happy with how their branded approach looks. Look at that, a good photo here with the team. Be mindful of that too, because when agents search you after you maybe leave a presentation or you send out an email blast, they might do what I just did and search your brand in the city. And what are they going to see? You want to make sure it's good. All right, let's jump into the website, y'all. So when you're logged into your WordPress site, at least if you have a Spectora site, you're going to have the bar up top that allows you to edit the page. So I'm going to go right to a very technical thing just to make sure you guys get a nugget right away. When you search for anything in Google, I want everyone to be mindful of this blue text right here that I'm highlighting. That's your title tag. So remember the term title tag, because that's every single page on the internet. has a title tag. So this is what Google scans first. Because if we were to look at the code of this website, the title tag is a tag that's code that Google scans first when they get to a page because it's at the top. So you have to know every page what your title tag is, because that you're basically telling Google, hey, this is the kind of business I am, this is my brand name, and this is the city that I serve. So hopefully all of you will look at search results differently now when you Google stuff to say, oh, okay, what are they actually saying in their title tag? What are they actually signaling to Google? Proudly serving middle, and it cuts off because it's too long. So we're going to look at that first. So let's go in and edit this front page, because I'm going to tell you what you want to have in your title tags right here. So if you do home inspector Nashville, this is research every one of you should be doing. Let's do this. What do we notice about title tags here? First one, Nashville, Tennessee home inspection, Nashville home inspectors. Okay, a little redundant, but it's clear what market they serve. We're going to talk about this too. This is the meta description. So this is the supporting text that many of us might think we don't read or tune out, but subconsciously, there's a reason why this is bolded right here. Nashville home inspection. Google knows, they just bold this on their own. So when Google bolds this for you, they're trying to get someone to click. If you don't have the words home inspection, Nashville, or your city in the meta description, you're not doing yourself a favor, because look, he's got this in bold. There's these extra links down here. This is a very good first ranking. And there's a reason for that. He paid attention. This company paid attention to all of these factors. Let's see. Expertise. That's a directory. 15 best. Of course, they're trying to get clicks. Carlson home inspection, home inspector, Nashville, Tennessee. So that should tell you, that should give you an example. If you look at your market, see what those title tags say. Take inventory of that. All right. So now that we know what the title tags are important, let's see what house calls is. You can hover over the tab here at the top. So if you want to see anyone's title tag, you can see it in Google search results, or you go to the page and hover. House call home inspection, proudly serving Middle Tennessee. I hope some of you see a problem with that title tag, because that's telling Google, hey, we do home inspections in Middle Tennessee. That needs to match up with what people actually search in Google when they're looking for you. I don't believe, based on the search volume and research I've done over the last 5 to 10 years, I don't think many people search home inspector Middle Tennessee. That's not how we search, right? We search home inspector Nashville, home inspector, home inspector Jacksonville, home inspector Lorain, home inspector Palm Springs. We search the city and town. So basically, you want to put the area that you're targeting, you want to make sure that that's in your homepage title tag. One thing I will call out, I'm going to get there in a second. I'm going to jump around a little bit. I want to show you guys a screenshot I took of house calls area, or where their business is based, what they put in their Google My Business. It's an address over here outside of the city center, pretty far outside, right? Many of you have your address, which you should be putting into Google My Business, because you can hide it. So you need to put your true home address unless you have a physical office. And you can't use a PO box either. Google wants you to have a physical address. That will help your SEO alone. If a lot of you had been using a PO box or trying to bounce your address around, don't play games with Google. That's my recommendation there. Put in your owner's home address, and then you optimize from there. It's going to be a little harder for house call to rank first in Nashville because the address in Google My Business is out here. That's okay. But over time, you can end up ranking maybe on these outskirts of Nashville, kind of out in this area. So I want you guys to know proximity matters a ton of where your business is based. If he was down here in Bradyville or Murfreesboro, it's going to be very hard to rank first in Nashville because his business is just not ranked there. That's how Google does their local algorithm. I'm not a fan of it, but I'm going to show you an example here in a minute of someone that has overcome that. But I thought it was important to let you guys know, hey, your business is based somewhere. it's going to be hard to rank 20, 30, 50 miles away. It's going to be hard to rank first. But you know what? If you rank first in all of these areas between Auburntown and Nashville, that's a good chunk of business still. You're gonna hit up a lot of good suburbs of a big city or any town because you can rank first everywhere around this. Okay, so let's jump in and actually modify this title tag, because we're going to do, and this is WordPress interface. Again, I understand some of you have sites in different places. I think WordPress is still one of the easiest systems to work in. There should always be a place to modify the title tag and meta description. So what I would do differently here is I would change this to either Nashville or Auburntown, maybe something in between. But if they were really wanting to target Nashville, you got to have that in your title tag. I would probably change this to house call home inspection. Let's see, either top, best, serving Nashville and surrounding areas. That's okay because you're getting Nashville in there. They have the word home inspection in their title of their brand, so that's good. I think that's the main thing you want to satisfy with the title tag is getting the word home inspection in there, and then the main city or town, ideally where your business is based, or the city you want to rank in. So now I'm going to do the meta description. So to review, y'all, meta description is this guy right here. I'm going to show you what I love about this one right here. It says call this number. So if someone was just glancing at this, if they're on their computer and they have their phone out, they can just call. That's good. You want that. Call today, schedule 20 online 24/7 right from our website. So I'm going to use some of this. You guys can steal from other people. There's no copyright on their meta descriptions. You can use tactics. Trusted home inspector in Nashville, Tennessee. I really like that title tag. So I'm going to take pieces of that. I'm also going to capitalize on the fact that they have close to 500 Google reviews. So maybe we change this to Nashville home inspector with near, or let's see, with close to, well, let's just go with over 455 Google reviews. We'll just do that. Let's do call or schedule online 24/7. People want to know that. You guys never know when people are scheduling. Call or schedule a home inspection online 24/7. So look at this. So I got Nashville in there, then the word home inspector. Here's some social proof by saying over 450 Google reviews, call or schedule, and then I got the word home inspection again in there. So that's going to get me a few of these bolded terms in the meta description. So right there, I upgraded what Google's going to see when someone searches for this site with putting Nashville in there, Nashville in there. So that's already 3 things that'll be bolded that'll upgrade their title tag and meta description. And then you want to click update to save it there. So that covers the title tag, what Google sees right away. That's good. That's one thing. The next thing you want to think about is what's actually on your page, right? Because when someone gets to your page, they need to see that you service Nashville as well as Google. So Google and the user need to see this. So that's good. I like that. And I like the fact that the word home inspection's there. You generally want to fit that in at the top above the fold. So you want to fit that in at the top of the page. And then you go down to some text here. What makes house call home inspection the best choice? Good. More instances of home inspection without it being spammy. So I like that. I'd probably work the words in Nashville a little more here. Middle Tennessee, again, you can say that in other ways. So if you all service a big area, work that in, but stick with the main city or area that you're closest to or that you want to target. All right, I'm going to pause here and let's see if we can do a few questions before I show you guys, before I get to the blog side. Let's see if we can get them flashed up on the screen. Thank you, Scott Price. Can you address how a company should approach SEO when they are marketing to more than one location, 2 different states? Scott, I know you well. I know you've been thinking about this and wanting to do this for a long time. So I have seen it work well, Scott, when there's different Google My Business properties. So yeah, Brian, this will be available to review and watch later. So you want 2 different Google My Businesses with 2 distinct addresses, because then you want to tell Google, hey, these are separate properties. Whether you have a different website or not, I would say a different state seems appropriate for it to be kind of a separate entity. And then you can target things differently. So to Scott's question, you can have your title tags be very distinct and uniform throughout the whole website for, say, Oklahoma City versus Norman, Oklahoma. So you don't want to confuse Google. So that's the mentality to have, is you don't want to confuse Google by having mixed signals within one site or Google My Business, because I have seen things get watered down before. It'll water down your rankings. It confuses Google. And when they're confused, they just don't rank you. Good question. Let's go to another one. Are we limiting our success by using property inspections instead of home inspections? So I'm going to go full screen on these. It's a fair question. I've done searches for keyword volumes, and more people do use the word home inspection than property inspections. But if you want to offset this, I will say sprinkle property inspections throughout your homepage. Some do it in their title tag. So some will say home inspections, Nashville, top property inspectors in the Middle Tennessee area. And then you get instances of either in there. I have seen that work well. When I was at Home Advisor, we often did that with the word remodeling versus renovation. So we would mix in title tag, 2 different variations of the word on each page. So I like that question a lot. So vary up your text to include these other search terms that people are using. Let's go to another one. How did you get to the website SEO to modify these items? So David, on our sites, we add a plugin called Yoast SEO. If your site is with us on Spectora, we can show you how to modify those. We're happy to. I'll leave some instructions at the end of this webinar of where to email to get your login. But if you have another type of website, you're just looking for the title tag and the meta description of every page on your site. So for everybody, you should be able to modify the page, edit it, and sometimes it's the title. So I'm gonna show you guys this right here. So sometimes if you go into a page, it's going to be like at the top. That might be your title tag. Sometimes I think some website builders, you just have to change that to modify it. I will say, guys, don't modify these too often. You have to give Google time to kind of digest it, see it, and then it's not going to shoot you to the top of the rankings. I want to be very clear that it's not a magic bullet. It's something you need to have. It's table stakes for what I'm about to talk about in a minute with adding a blog to your site. Let's do one more question. Yeti Drone. Yes, everyone here write down Google Analytics and Google Search Console. You should have those 2 tracking and attribution softwares on your site because they're both free and they're both Google products. Thanks, Dasha and Rada. You can take down the question now. So let's pop in here, y'all, and I'm going to show you Google Search Console and how powerful it is. So This is Google Search Console. Again, free to add to your site. You just add a snippet of code, and then you can log in and see analytics on your website. So this will give you insight into how people are getting to your site. And I want to come back to this in a second because I'm going to show you guys a blog that has done very well. Key Inspection Services. They're out of, I think, Snohomish, Washington. Farron West, great guy. I'm sure he'd be fine with me going through his site like this, but he's got a lot of content. And I'm going to link to all of these sites, guys, that I'm going through so you can see what quality blog and content looks like, because they've done this for a long time. Look at this. On the homepage, we have frequently asked questions. Where do you think he got these from? He got these from Google, because Google tells you, if I were to do a quick search for home inspections, probably going to be some other questions down here. Let's see. Let's do home inspection checklist. That's always a good one. That gives you some home inspection checklist. What to look for in a home inspection. Damn, people also ask. That's what I was trying to trigger. He probably got his ideas from here and then just put those frequently asked questions on his homepage. It's a beautiful thing. So if you search for these more informational home inspection terms, you'll get blog content ideas. So more on that in a second. So he's got a great blog, and I'm going to show you why blogging is a big deal. So if I went into his search console, so this is actually Key Inspection Services search console where it gives them data. And in the last 3 months, what this is showing you is that he's gotten 4,000 clicks to his website from Google search traffic. One of the biggest ones here is benefits of using a realtor. So I was looking at that and saying, okay, that's interesting. He must be getting some really good traffic from this. So if I search for benefits, if you guys can't tell, I do lots of incognito searching just to see what Google gives me back. Lo and behold, he ranks first for benefits of using a realtor. That's something you wouldn't have thought of to write about, right? But he probably found search volume that said, hey, a lot of people search for this, of benefits of working with a realtor. I should probably write an article on it. Or maybe we did. I think we worked with him on SEO a ways back when we did manage plans. But basically, this is a well thought out article, well planned out, of benefits of using a realtor. And then you can actually go in and see the results in Search Console. So that's the beauty of setting up analytics in Search Console. So I think that's a great question. Pass fail inspection. That's another one people Google all the time. So if you guys want some ideas, I'm going to give you a couple blogs real quick, a couple sites that I think are doing it well. And you can get some good ideas from, like, even look at his above the fold title tag or his H1. He's pointing out that he does inspections for a lot of Seattle-based companies. Kind of cool, right? And he's got some of these great metrics here. So he's got a great resources and blog. Scott Home Inspection is another one. Again, I'm going to link to all these, but I just want to speed through these real quick, guys. They have amazing content. So if you go through their site and if you just scan, if you're like an SEO, you guys all have your SEO goggles on now. So high quality home inspections from a trusted Colorado company. And then they list the cities out. Everyone asks about location pages, and Scott Price, this part to your question, they're based up in Fort Collins. They rank really well in Denver. If you guys don't know the area, that's about 50, 60 miles away. That's hard to do. They created a location page. If you look up here, Scott Home Inspection / Denver Home Inspector. So they are actually giving you some Denver specific information here. A review on the side. They're telling you the services they offer. Denver's one of the fastest growing cities in the nation. Good information, right? More information, neighborhood breakdown. So I implore everybody, if you're going to do location pages to try to rank in other cities. Do them really well. If you're just going to throw it up and write, 2 sentences and try to spam it, just don't do it. Do it like you see here with Scott Home Inspection. If you're going to make a run at it, make it good. Do the research. Have someone on your team write it. If you're solo person shop, write it yourself. But I think it's worth the time if you're in this for the long term. You go to their blog, plenty of good information. So check these out. Structure Tech is the last one. They're like a 50-person multi that uses us out of Minnesota. Ruben Saltzman's known as one of the best bloggers in the industry. Some of you might listen to his podcast. Just go to his blog and get ideas. Look at all of these sections. He writes about everything. So if you want to see some of the best in the industry, go to these blogs, get inspiration from there, and start your own. So I'm going to show you guys, if you did want to just start a blog on your site, it's as simple as starting a blog page. I'm simply just going to add call blog. And it's as easy as that. So, and then you can edit the URL to basically just say /blog. So if I do that in WordPress and basically just set up somewhere where the blog posts go, that's all you need to do. I'm actually just going to finish this out to make it easy for you guys. And then we can also help you with this. So if you were to just put your latest blog post there, I'm just going to save that draft. I don't want to publish it for him. But I just created a blog page. So it's probably not as bad as you thought, right? Like this is, I wouldn't overthink it. Just all you need is a page where when you add a post, it shows up on your blog page. So in WordPress, posts are blog posts, and the page is where kind of all of the blog posts live. So I'm happy to answer questions on that. But setting up a blog should be everyone's, I think, kind of goal maybe for Q2. If you have some marketing goals for this next quarter, set up a blog, check out some of these other sites to get inspiration and see what high quality blogging looks like, and go from there. Okay, I like pausing for questions. This is, I think, a good format. So let's team, let's have you flash some up there. Norden Inspections. Anyone's new to the industry and finding trouble getting customers to purchase an inspection given the market craziness right now. So I'd advise, I think last week or the week before I did an office hours on approaching agents, on building relationships. I would go back and check that one out. Jorgen, I'll link to 5 or 10 great home inspection blogs in the description of the YouTube video. So I have dozens just on the top of my mind that I'll link to. But yeah, for you new guys out there, I don't want you focusing too much time on SEO. So I'm going to speak kind of directly to new inspectors, maybe struggling to ramp up. You should be focused on meeting agents. If you use your website to supplement that, that's one thing. So if you were to go do a presentation to a Keller Williams in Nashville, guys, maybe you make a landing page for them. Maybe you go in and say, house call welcomes Keller Williams, Nashville. You just make a nice little landing page with some simple graphics on it, maybe a photo and the scheduler and some stats about them or the city. Use that to supplement your agent outreach and presentations. If you're new and kind of wanting business to come in, you guys need to be out shaking hands. You need to be adding every realtor in your area on Facebook and Instagram, interacting with their blog posts, interacting with their posts, and trying to book meetings, coffee meetings, to ask them about their business and how you can help them. And a million other things that I've done in other presentations, like knowing your unique value propositions. Again, we'll link to a ton of other content based on this question. Okay, let's go to another one. I've got the phone with Google Business, and if you have a budget of $70 a day, they will help you with your ads. Frank, I'm torn here, everybody. I say test this out if you're going to do it. they're incentivized to get you to run ads, and so of course they want you to get business, which is good too because those incentives are aligned. I would make sure you understand where these ads are showing and how many people a month are searching for home inspector your area. They should not be running for your own brand name. So it looks like on your logo there, Think Home Inspections, if that's your brand. I wouldn't worry about running ads when people search for Think Home Inspections because your site should pop up first anyway. I think you should work on the things we talked about first in this presentation, which is your search results, the title tags, making sure there's a way to schedule. So I say track it carefully, and if you can figure out if you're getting jobs from it, great, do it, rinse and repeat. But I just love, if a lot of you are new, is meeting the agents and then sliding into SEO and blogging in year 2, 3, 4 and beyond. Let's do another one. If you target 5 to 10 cities, do you add all to your title tag? Daniel, this is a great question. You don't need to worry about that. So what I would do there, because Google knows your location, they're aware of your location via your Google My Business, right? So I would probably list the highest population center one, or the one that has the most people in it, which naturally has the most search results. And then you can list the others on the page, kind of down below. So if I show you here, so if there was a bunch of other smaller towns around you, you would maybe list those further down the page to say, oh, we also service Aurora, Lakewood, Littleton down on the page. But title tag, you want to focus it on the biggest city possible. So if that makes sense. Yeah, you don't want to cram them all in because I think that's also confusing. I've put 2 cities in a title tag at most because remember, it's going to get cut off anyway. And Google may or may not see that as spammy if you just try to dump 5 to 10 cities in there. Getting good Google reviews will naturally rank you in those close towns, just outside of your address. So I hope that helps. Let's do another one. Ira, another good question. I am hearing that on the podcast. I ask every single guest that, and I ask inspectors that pretty much weekly. I am seeing reductions in buyer generated inspections. I think this is a good use of the blog. I think you guys all need to have a blog post that talks about the dangers of actually not doing an inspection. And I think last week we also talked about everyone creating a product or a service that is the post move-in inspection for buyers, and see if your agents would push that. I don't know how close you all are with your agents. Maybe ones you have a better relationship with would do that, because I don't believe most agents would recommend no home inspection at all. They're all just saying, hey, we don't want it as a contingency. So this is all testing, Ira, and we're in pretty ridiculous markets right now. So I say test out a service that says, hey, a non-contingency home inspection, maybe it's limited, takes less of your time, or it's the whole shebang right before they move in. That's more informational. So then you guys are thinking of this as an informational kind of product and report. It seemed, I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just brainstorming with you. So let's go to another one. For 2 staff members, I would like to know more about the bounce rate and what is considered a good number in the industry. Great question, Meadows. This traditionally was a metric used. I don't look at it much anymore, and I'll tell you why. SEO industry news that I've read has basically said sometimes a high bounce rate means you gave them good information right away. So think of it this way. If your article has a great summary at the top, let me just show you guys an example for those of you that want to nerd out to bounce rate. So if I just search how much should a home inspection cost? And I go to the first article. And I just see that 400, and then I hit back. That's technically a bounce. So I want everyone to know that just because someone clicks back doesn't mean it's a bad bounce. So I don't. That's why I don't look at it. Because sometimes you can give people information quickly, and that's a positive sign from Google. Like if I stopped searching for what I just searched for, of how much a home inspection should cost, that's actually a positive signal to Google. So I say don't fixate on it. If you're going to fixate on anything, fixate on answering the question that the user's there to find. Just like that key home inspection benefits of using a realtor, make sure you're giving them all the benefits and in-depth answers and a summary at the top, and the results will speak for themselves. Let's do one more question, and then I have one last kind of piece to get into. Prices on the website, David, good or bad? This has been around since the Stone Ages of the industry. My way of thinking about this is if you are a closer on the phone, if you have a very good process for email follow-ups when people request a quote with amazing kind of value propositions, maybe some visuals to go along with it, then you might feel comfortable not listing pricing and get like driving those inquiries. If you're an on the phone person and you just convert 90% of the people you talk to, maybe that's fine. Otherwise, I do think we're in an age of transparency. Let me show you something. I'm glad you brought this up, because if you go to pricing on this is one of the biggest companies in the country, and Ruben's built this up over 20, 30 years, mind you. But if you go to pricing, I'm going to see if this plays.
A warning, before you check out our prices, we are the most expensive company in town.
He just said, if the audio didn't work, before you check our prices, we are the most expensive company in town. Of course, that's a baller move, and he can do that because his company's huge. I don't know if he did that when he was smaller. I know some of you do that now. So I would say stand by your pricing. I like transparency, and I love on a pricing page telling them why they're going to pay a little more for your business and for your service. Okay. So I talked about, ideas. So let's do this. I'm going to show you guys, and then I'll get back to questions in like 5 more minutes, and we'll finish out there. I'm going to show you guys a website called Answer the Public. Everyone can reference that. What this does is this scans Google's auto suggest feature and gives you ideas based on that. So let's type in home inspection and just see what we get back. I haven't done this in a long time, so I'm kind of relearning this on the fly with you guys. So this is going to pull data from Google, which pulls data from what people actually type into Google. So like you're getting some really good insight here. I love the beautiful presentation, by the way. So this shows you all of the root words that include are or what. So here we go. What is a home inspection checklist? What is home inspection report? What does home inspection report look like? Are home inspection reports public information? This is a wealth of things to write about. What should home inspections include? How to get certified? Can home inspections be a side job? A lot of you know that answer. You're doing it or trying to not do it anymore. Can home inspections detect mold? So right there, this gives you 75 questions, 55 prepositions, 33 comparisons, 378 potential options of what to write about. Beautiful. So that alone should give you some blog ideas. I thought I saw that in the comments of how do I find blog ideas? Boom, just go to Google, go to the source. Something like Answer the Public has been great for me over time to just find content to write about. Okay, let's jump back to questions. I want to make sure we hit a lot of these, and I like keeping sometimes the information a little quick hitter, and then send you guys more follow-up info afterwards. Let's do, can I get access to do a blog on my own, or does Spectora need to set it up for managed hosting? So Ed, great question. We can set it up for you. We can give you access, and then you can decide from there. I like everybody taking this into their own hands in terms of we'll get you up and running, and then knowing how to just create a post. Pretty simple. So maybe next week I will just do that. I'll just create a blog post and add the photo and just do it beginning to end and just kind of show everybody how to just get started. Because I had to do this many years ago too. So Ed, hang on here. We'll give you some guidance here. Maybe Rada in the comments can tell everybody how she wants. I don't want to overwhelm the web team with 100 people trying to create a blog at once. So I'll let Rada answer that in the comments. Great questions, guys. I'm loving this, by the way. I hope this is helpful. When responding to reviews, should we work to include some strong keyword terms? Ooh, Brody, I dig it. I say if you can sprinkle it in without sounding like you're trying to do it, which is kind of the funny part of SEO. I think for all of you that maybe haven't been in the industry, you used to be able to just create a page that said Denver home inspection, Denver home inspection, Denver homes. Like literally, people would copy and paste that at the bottom of their site, and that would rank you first. Google's on to spam quite a bit. Google's on to keyword detection and overusage. So yeah, Brody, I think you work it in and somehow mention the area because then that gets it into the Google reviews kind of database. Great question. So yeah, I would say, something along the lines of, oh yeah, we love working in the Nashville area because of clients like you, blah, 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 and make it sound natural as best as you can. Okay. Any copyrights linking YouTube videos that are not the company's video, for example, linking your agent video, how do you Spectora? Ryan, great question. No, I don't believe there are unless you see anything in the description of any YouTube video that explicitly says you cannot use this. I believe by putting it up on YouTube, they are allowing for it to be shared, and you're only helping other people, honestly. And so you're helping yourself by helping them. So every video on YouTube, I believe, has an embed or a share. So I say it's one of those things where you ask for forgiveness if it is something where you get a cease and desist. That's the polite way of just saying, hey, take that down. You didn't have rights to use that, and that's fine. But anything you guys find that's helpful, I say link to it because that's called aggregating content, right? So if you're a content aggregator, if you guys went and found the top 10 most helpful home maintenance videos for millennials moving into a home and put it on one of the pages on your site, you're driving traffic to those videos. So you shouldn't feel bad about that. You just did the research work for a millennial. I think that adds value. So I think if you take the time to find good resources for other people, yeah, you should get traffic from that and their videos get views. So good question. Downside to listing your service area versus actual address on Google My Business page? Not really. I've read a little bit about on this. Good question. I don't believe there's a material difference based on what I've read. I encourage everyone to Google this yourself and just Google service area versus actual address. I've read mixed things, but in general, the consensus is, hey, this isn't going to impact things. And this is a broader kind of answer I'm going to give you, is that no one thing typically is going to sway one way or another your rankings or have you rise or drop. There's 200 plus ranking factors. So yeah, I say do a little bit of reading on it. If you do use your actual address, make sure you're listing all of your service areas in that additional space that they give you in Google My Business. So if you fill out the whole profile, that's the way to go. Make sure everything's filled out in there. Okay. Is it better to have multiple tabs of information or most in your homepage? Frank, great question. I personally have seen good results from more content on the homepage. Let me show you guys an example here. So you're giving Google a lot to eat and digest by saying, hey, because to break this down for everybody, we've done some tests when I was at Home Advisor of how long Googlebot or Google's crawler or spider, if to use different terms, all that is their algorithm that scans your page top to bottom. There's no guarantee for how long they stay on your site. But the more good info you give them, the higher likelihood they stay on that one page longer. They scan more of the words and they gain a better understanding of how high quality your site is. So this is getting super technical, but I love the question because I think if there's a purpose that warrants a whole new page, like say something in depth about your drone, or something in depth about your mold inspections, or something in depth about radon. Yeah, that feels like another page. But if you're just going to elaborate on kind of what you offer, add-on inspections, why us, this is great stuff. What others have to say about us, ready to schedule, sample reports. They have an Ask Your Inspector thing. They link to their blog post. That's a good amount. So I think look at some of these examples and try to treat yourself like a consumer, and ask yourself, okay, would I keep scrolling? What kind of information is this site giving me to make me want to convert? It's hard to listen to your own self as a consumer, but the more you can tap into that, the more you'll have reasonable kind of instincts. So you Spectora for reporting, but ISM for scheduling, et cetera, and a private website provider that we're not very happy with. How can Spectora SEO help us? So quick distinction, great answer. We don't manage SEO plans anymore. We don't actually write content and blog posts like we used to. We wanted to just stay focused on building the website, being a point of contact, and then obviously the software and advanced and all those other products. So when we build the site, we do build in some best practices like this title tag stuff, and and we don't do it for 100% of sites. Sometimes when we get busy, that can be done after the fact, like after it's launched, we can go back in and help there. But ongoing blogging, we have a partner, Market Hardware, that I vetted personally and trust and like a lot. And we have hundreds of inspectors that use Market Hardware, our partner, and they do the writing of blog posts ongoing. They help with making sure every page has a good title tag, meta description, things like that. So I'm a fan. They've done good work. I audit them every so often to make sure they're taking care of you guys well, and they actually do the SEO plan management. Whereas we create the site, we're your point of contact. If you add a new service and want to create a new page, we help out there. But SEO really is its own beast, and it really is its own kind of management. And that's why we have a partner, because it just became overwhelming, honestly, to do both. What are other great home inspector blogs? Jorgen, I encourage everyone here to do a little research. Let's do a little spying on our competition. And I want you guys to get good at doing these searches. Home inspector Jacksonville. Let's just see who has a good blog here. Go Home Pro, Bolt City, Southern Brothers. So check out these sites, see if they have a blog, see what they're writing about. Okay, why is my central heater blog? We actually used to work with BJ's site and created some of this content back then. So looks like some pretty good topics there, if I'm being unbiased. Home Pro. Just look for blogs, guys. Look for them. But I'm going to link to a bunch of them in the description of this video that you guys can check out. Actually, let's do this. Home inspection blogs. Let's see what Google tells us. What did I tell you guys? Structure tech first. So again, search for it. Home inspection blogs. And then for those of you that also want blog topic ideas, looks like Spectora ranks second here. Article I wrote, 40 blog topic ideas based on keyword research. So if you just search home inspection blogs, check out Ruben's blog, check out my list of ideas, and that is Scott Home Inspection. So it looks like I picked two good ones. I didn't plan for that. I just picked two off the top of my head that I knew were good, and lo and behold, Google agrees with me. So I'm basically a human algorithm. Let's go to a couple other questions here. Kelly, great question. If you're researching competitors, can they see that you've been searching them if you're not incognito? Not really, Kelly. I mean, most people go to their analytics and just look at traffic, if they even do that. They're not going to be able to tell it was you. So I click around all the time in incognito and search anything and everything. It's too detailed for competitors to know. Now, if you're submitting quotes, creating accounts in different places, yeah, maybe, but I wouldn't worry too much about that. You can do competitive research feeling good about the fact that everyone does it everywhere in every industry. Minnesota has cities spread out over 45 miles apart, geographically speaking. How to approach SEO towards regions or counties without looking too spammy to Google. So, this is Norton Inspections. To be honest with you, this is a limitation of Google's local algorithm, is that when things are more spread out, they tend to think the better home inspector is going to be close to where the searcher is. So you have to do a little more work when you have so many cities spread out, in that you got to get Google reviews, because Google reviews is the great equalizer. So if you really focus on Google reviews, Google might now recognize you as the best option, even though someone's search is 30 miles away. So I know that's kind of a tough answer to hear, but it's like Google reviews. And then if any of those cities are higher volume than others, start writing blog posts about it. So if any of them have a bigger market than the others, like the top 5, maybe do a real estate update blog post to just talk about key metrics. How long are homes staying on the market? How much over ask are they selling for? What are trends? How much is the market up year over year? Just like little real estate updates like that, where you're mentioning the city or town, go a long way. I think that's like an easy, low hanging fruit. Colleen, yeah, instead of using the cover logo photo, sometimes it uses a random one. Google can pick and choose. They can change your title tag. They can change your meta description. They can kind of do what they want. I would say keep trying to upload a different, maybe high quality photo, and then see if it takes. But yeah, I think you have to kind of reverse engineer why they're showing something else. But keep trying to upload different qualities. Maybe change the file type if it's like a ping or a JPEG. I haven't researched that a ton, so I would say maybe Google that and see what comes up. Stephen Willis, good question. Yes, please, everybody, do not go and copy and paste maybe from like InterNACHI's like library of articles. Please do not copy and paste articles. This can get you kicked out of the search results. So if you're actually making progress and ranking anywhere on page 1, you can actually get banned for like 6 months. A lot of times is their standard penalty. So you can curate content though. So this is something that I think is an underrated tactic. You can go read an article that's super interesting that you thought that you have an opinion on, take a snippet of it, make that the top of your article so someone's getting context on it, and then you weigh in below with your opinion or your perspective or a counter take or a hot take or whatever. So never copy and paste content, guys. You can link to other content all day. That's fine. And you actually want to link to credible content from your blog. So if you're linking to a State Farm or a Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever from your blog, that's a good signal. That's okay. You can link to other high quality sites from your site. It's actually a positive signal to Google. But if you just want to weigh in on a current event or, a TV show or whatever the case, whatever it is, a very common practice to get a snippet of that article, you can copy and paste it, make sure it's in quotes or in kind of like a shaded kind of box, and then you can talk about it. Connor, yeah. If you've got a ton of Spectora reviews, good job. Flip that off and change the link in your follow-up emails directly to your Google review listing. So you want to, I'm going to pull this up here. Yeah, you want to change that link out every so often and rotate. So, and you want to change it with this. So they land right here. So if you need help finding that link, we have an article that tells you how to find it. So hopefully someone, one of the team can put it in the chat, the article to find your Google My Business review link, swap that out, and you'll be getting a bunch of Google reviews, I'm sure, in no time. All right, let's do a couple more. I can stay a few minutes later. Access to the WordPress mobile app. Currently, I can't. Josh, of course, you'd ask a hard question to me, man. Good to see you. Appreciate you. Let us look into that. I don't know a ton about the WordPress mobile app, since not many inspectors even know about that or would be open to using it. So, good question. Hope the family's well, man. Two-state company. Great presence in our main state, but next to nothing in the other. So both states are listed in our service area. David, I would say consider a separate Google My Business that links to either a new website. And that's not just because we build websites. I think I've seen that when they're distinctly different, Google kind of has certainty and knows. The other option is a separate Google My Business, but then you now have a tab on your main website that is slash Jacksonville or slash, Nashville for the other city. And you make that page all about that city and nothing about the other state. We could talk more about that. It's something that I've seen few people get results on, but the ones that have had separate properties. So that tends to be my answer is make it very distinctly separate. All right. Any others? Jameson, good question. So this everyone always asks this. The answer to this evolves as Spectora reviews start showing up in more places. And what I mean by that, guys, is I search for home inspector Seattle. We do have directory pages that primarily promote people with Spectora reviews. So I'm going to share my screen again. So I searched for home inspector Seattle, big city, right? I created these directory pages years ago and put content on them. So I follow my own advice, guys. So if you go down to the bottom of this Seattle home inspector page, I probably added some content about Seattle. Look, I linked to the .org, credible source, .gov, very credible. I talked a little about the Seattle real estate market. How much does a home inspection cost? What should I look for? So I took my own advice, put some content on the page. Typically, if you focus on Spectora reviews, you're going to rank highest on here. Key is blowing them out here, 1,400 reviews on Spectora reviews. They're probably getting a little bit of business from this. So that's why you would focus on Spectora reviews, is these directory pages are doing better and better. This allows you to pick off a few inspections here and there just by focusing on Spectora. And the naysayers that are like, the Spectora reviews are BS, I don't need to focus on them. Okay, that's fine. It's not for everybody. And that's okay. We don't have an ego about it. I believe in diversifying. So I believe in getting reviews in the main places that matter. So search in your market. If you see a Spectora directory page, great. We also have a find an inspector page that we're trying to promote to some bigger partners to kind of generate more inspections for our community. So maybe go there / find a home inspector with dashes and see if you show up there. Let's do one more. How often do you use videos and what's the topic of the next one? Jorgen, thank you. I'm going to start doing these every week, guys, because the feedback I've gotten, and I'd like in the comments, if everyone before you leave, if you can drop a comment on if this was helpful and informative, that helps me know I'm doing a good job. I don't just like hearing my own voice. So if you think this was helpful, I will keep doing these and we'll roll out the topics, a week ahead of time and have maybe a standing time where I can dive deep into these things and try to add some value to you guys just based on what I've learned. So the answer, hopefully weekly, and you guys keep letting us know if these are helpful. Let's do one more. Why not? How do you feel about new inspector using Angie leads, Ryan? I've heard success stories and I've heard people say they blew through, hundreds of dollars with no quality leads. So I say test it out, especially if you're in like a medium to bigger size market. I think you have to, I think we can never underrate you getting one lead, one successful job from Angie, and then you meet an agent through that. And then that agent now refers you more business. I think they have a bad rap because typically the leads aren't as dialed in as they should be. I think like sometimes people can be looking for a structural engineer or a mold inspector, and then they click on a lead, and then you get that lead and you have to pay money for it and ask for a refund. I say try it out with a defined budget. Ask the rep there, say, hey, if I got $1,000 or $2,000, how many jobs can I get from this? And then your job is once you get a job from Angie or Thumbtack or wherever, you work the heck out of that agent. You make sure you get coffee with them. You make sure you meet other people at their brokerage to make that lead worth a lot. Because I've seen people spend a couple grand and get hundreds of thousands of dollars of work. I've heard great stories of that. Good question. Scott, thank you for the feedback, showing the screen on dashboard. Appreciate that. Yeah, I love clicking through stuff. It's more off the cuff and hopefully gives you guys some like confidence to get in there. All right. Thank you for the feedback, guys. I appreciate it. This is literally what keeps me kind of, juiced for doing this. So keep asking questions. We will review the comments and questions and get back to everybody. Tasty Marshals. We got to put that one up, Dasha from Norden. We're going to end on this beautiful feedback. Thanks, guys. Seriously. You guys know my goal, right? I love spreading knowledge and info. I want everybody that uses Spectora to succeed to the highest degree. You guys are my team, my tribe. You guys believe in us. You guys stick with us, whether the software's humming along or there's bumps in the road. My job is to make sure that you guys are out there selling and marketing and getting reviews and growing, building a dream life through your business. So thank you so much, everybody. I had a blast doing this. I'm going to keep doing these. This recording will be up on YouTube, so feel free to reference this. And you can watch this later, Frank, absolutely. And more to come. Stay tuned. If you guys want to learn more, look out for emails, when we promote these.